What's going on, guys? Me, Rakes Talon, back with a new video today about the Ranger in Pantheon Rise of the Fallen. If you want to play a Ranger in Pantheon, you can see the picture here. Super nice looking picture here. This is obviously an Ember Elf. There's two kind of elves in Pantheon. One more a bit magical, one a bit more with forest and nature, and more like kind of like a warrior type of guy, right? So this is the Ember Elf. If you want to play an Ember Elf, there's three races you can go for. You can go for the human, halfling, and elves. I was always a big fan of elves, so for me it would obviously be a ranger elf. But then again, there's so many cool classes in this game, so many cool races, and also like in this game, being a healer and tank is so different than in other MMORPGs, which sometimes even made me consider playing a healer or playing a tank maybe. So very cool, and we'll see how the ranger looks in Pantheon. We have a little bit of a text here. If you guys want to read the text, you can go over to like pantheonmmo.com, where you can obviously check out the class yourself, or also read that text, which goes a bit deeper into the class identity. But as you can see here, the group role is damage. So the ranger is obviously a damage dealer. Not a really big surprise there. If you go to combat resource, he has endurance and momentum. So those are like two kind of resources he has. One probably the more normal one, like maybe like a mana or something, and the other is probably something that he has to build up during a fight, so he can spend those points or something, combo points or something like this, in order to use some of his abilities. Available armor. You can go for cloth, light and heavy leather, and even light chain. That is very cool. In a lot of games, the ranger, also known as hunter, can only wear leather, so that he's able to go with light chain is also pretty cool. In WoW, he could also wear like mail, but seeing this, very cool. So not only a leather class. Available weapons, he has a dagger, short spear, sword, great sword, edged, great blade, axe, club, warhammer, mace, longbow, shortbow, and crossbow. Very cool. I'm currently playing a lot of Guild Wars 2, and there's also like a shortbow and longbow, and this was always really new to me, especially in WoW. There was only one type of bow pretty much, so that is something super cool to see. But able to put a lot of different weapons on, so you have to be scared. It's kind of reminds me a bit of the classic WoW experience, where Hunter were able to carry everything, which means they also wanted to have everything, right? So gonna be interesting, but looks like the Hunter can use a lot of different weapons, which is super cool. Let's go over the featured abilities of a ranger. Keep in mind, those are only a certain amount of spells and abilities that this class is going to have, that they put out, that they want to show us, that they want us to go through. So let's go over them. Silent Arrow, a carefully aimed shot that impales an enemy, dealing high physical damage. If the enemy is under the effect of your traps, Silent Arrow will critically hit. This ability can be manually aimed for increased damage. Wow. Okay, so the first part. So you always want to make sure you put that guy in a trap somehow, so that your next silent arrow is going to critically hit that target. Very interesting. Not sure how the hunter is going to do this. If he can throw some traps, if he has to put them down, the target has to walk into it, and then they use silent arrow. But obviously, if you want to have a critical hit, you always want to make sure that the target was walking into a trap before that. The second part is kind of I don't really understand that well, because it says like this ability can be manually aimed for increased damage. Very interesting. So it looks like some action combat aiming there, that if you aim it manually, it does more damage. Very cool. Maybe if one of them is in the traps, right, and you have already that critical hit that is coming in, so, and then it also does more damage because maybe you use it manually. Very interesting there. Maybe some action combat stuff going on. Very interesting ability here. Silent Arrow. Brightfire Zap. Coat your weapon in Brightfire Zap, turning it into a light source. Ooh, very nice. So because what I'm expecting from Pantheon, I'm not sure if they do it, but I pray that they do it, is there's going to be a lot of really dark caves, a lot of that. Night means night, right? I'm playing a lot of Guild Wars right now. I'm enjoying my time with the people there. I'm having a lot of fun streaming it. But if there's nighttime, it's not really nighttime, right? It's more like it is not as bright as before, right? And I just hope that Pantheon is kind of playing with this and making some stuff really dark, where if you want to go into the cave, you need a torch, you need a light source, because if that is the case, then this is also a very cool spell. The hunter just putting his spear on fire just to be able to see in the cave. That is a super cool fantasy in there, and I really like this ability here. Brightfire Sap. Kalen's Charge. Command an animal's trust, immediately ending combat and making the animal friendly towards you for a short time. Oh, okay. Very interesting. So this is not talking about a pet or something, because it says it's only going to be friendly to you for a short time. So maybe you want to use this, you're fighting a mob and you see you can't quite take that guy down. He's about to kill you. You maybe use this and turn him friendly. Maybe that's how you could use it, or I'm not exactly how to think about this ability, but seems very, very cool. And I'm not sure what that means for a short amount of time, right? How long is he gonna be friendly towards you? Only for like 3 seconds or like maybe 10 seconds. But very, very interesting spell. Probably a lot of stuff that he can do with this, and very, very interesting too. Beckon Grizzly. Beckon a grizzly bear to attack an enemy for a short duration, dealing physical damage to an enemy and stunning them briefly. Okay, so beckon a grizzly bear. So there's a grizzly bear coming in, attacks your enemy for a short amount of time, obviously doing physical damage, and then also stunning them for a short amount of time. So a good way for you to maybe get away from an enemy, you know, get some distance between you and the enemy, or just use it because you feel like using it to do more damage. Very, very cool. Hamstring Trap. Set a hamstring trap that snares the first enemy to approach, reducing their movement speed. Very nice. A slow trap, right? It says snares the first enemy to approach and reducing their movement speed. Okay, no, maybe I'm just not understanding this quite right, but it says like snares the first enemy that approaches. Snares is like, doesn't that mean like it's literally it stays there? But then it says like reducing their movement speed. So I guess it's just slowed. But which is also pretty cool. We don't know how much percent this target is slowed, but I would assume it's a lot, right? Because harvesting trap, so maybe like 50% or something. But very, very cool. Flare. Launch a burning arrow that sticks into the ground at the target location, acting as a torch for a short time. Very nice. So you can also use this to see around in caves. Probably you will most likely use the Brightfire Sap here, though. But I would assume that this is maybe really good against rogues. I know that PvP is not really the main focus of Pantheon, and I don't want it to be. But I'm just saying that with this, you could maybe there's like some enemies that are maybe in stealth, right? You never know. So this could probably reveal a lot of enemies, because we learned from the death stream of Carnage that a rogue will obviously be revealed if he gets close to a light source. So this is very, very good. To get a good ability. I like this. Also very common and classic on Rangers. Mailguard Stride. So this is a passive. Every time I read passive, I'm super excited, because this means this is an ability that you never have to think about, you never have to worry about. It's just always there in your back, you know, and trying to help you. So it's your movement speed is increased while outdoors. Very, very nice. I would assume this goes away once you're in fight. Maybe not, but very, very cool. So the hunter obviously being running around faster than everyone else. This is also very, very cool. And yeah, typical ranger stuff, right? Very, very nice. Engage. Leap into the fray to engage an enemy in melee combat, granting initiative, which guarantees your next melee ability will critically hit. Okay, so you jump to your enemy, melee combat, and it gives you initiative, and that makes you give you a critical hit with your next melee weapon. Okay, so a guaranteed critical hit once you jump to the target. So your next hit, boom, crit. Very nice, very nice. Withdraw. Kick off an enemy, bolting backwards and granting advantage, which guarantees your next range ability will critically hit. So wait, very nice. So what you can do as a hunter here is you leap to a mob. Let's say you're doing let's just imagine there's one mob there. You leap to a mob, you get initiative, hit him, crit. After the crit, you withdraw into your back, use your range weapon, and you got advantage, which gives you also a ranged ability crit. Very, very cool. So you can do like a lot of crit damage here in a short amount of time with the hunter, with the ranger. Very, very cool. I like this a lot. You can work with those abilities together here to do some cool stuff. I like this. Fractal Arrow. Fire an arrow that shatters on impact, dealing physical damage and causing the enemy to bleed. Okay, so you put that on the ground. Fire an arrow that shatters on impact. Not sure if you shoot that at the enemy or if it's like an area thing. but it's obviously a dot. You know, the target is going to bleed, take down damage very slowly. Very nice, getting a bleed effect on him. Beckon Whale Hawks. Beckon a pair of Whale Hawks to carry you to a nearby location. Cannot be used in combat. Okay, that's good. So you cannot just fly away from a combat, right? But if you're outside of combat, you can fly to a nearby location. Wow, I would love to see how this looks in game. Like, is it just... Are you, like, pretty much, No, that's not... Okay, that's something. I thought, like, you were maybe, like, you know, going the direction you want with those hawks. But that would be, like, a mount, so obviously not. But maybe there's, like, some points where you can click on where they bring you. And they would, like, follow the street or something and just bring you there faster. Very cool. Not sure how to think of this in-game. A very, very nice idea. I like this. I like this a lot. Weighted bolt. Fire a heavy, blunted bolt at an enemy with enough force to knock them back a short distance. Puts the enemy in an off-balance state. Very, very nice. And knockback ability here. It's going to be fun to see if you can also knock stuff off a ledge or something. You know, push them off a border or something. Very, very cool. But also, obviously, good to get some distance between you and your enemy again. Maybe kiting is going to be something interesting in Pantheon too, where a lot of times, you know, back in the day when I played Vanilla WoW, which is obviously a very different game, but at the same time, there were mobs that people just couldn't beat. What a hunter was doing, he was always able to kite them, you know, just hit them and then run and hit them again, slow them, keep walking, and kite them a long, long distance until the mob was finally down. Obviously, the only thing I saw was the Harmsting trap here that would be able to kind of slow the enemy, but then again, there's so many more abilities that we don't see here. So kiting, always a very, very fun thing to do, especially in games where stuff is so hard that it actually pays off doing. But then again, if in Pantheon kiting, if you would be kiting in Pantheon, you pull another mob, it's probably game over, right? So obviously, just thinking a bit in my head there, but very, very interesting. Ferocious Assault. Unleash a flurry of rapid strikes with both weapons, inflicting multiple rounds of physical damage. So I assume this is this is melee, right? Yeah, I assume this is a melee ability, dashing out a lot of hits in a short amount of time. So you leap in here with Engage. You get this first critical hit. Use Ferocious Assault. You use Withdraw to jump back and get another critical hit with your ranged weapon. You know, throw your bleed on there too. And man, this seems like a really fun class to play, like gameplay style wise. Very, very interesting. And also like this passive here, movement speed increased while outdoors. Very, very cool. Very, very fun class, Ranger. Let me know in the comments down below if you guys play a Ranger. This is probably the class that I will probably make first, but we'll see. There's many other cool classes. Thanks for watching, guys. I'll see you guys in my next video. Bye-bye.